Uh-huh.
Hold on. Okay. Go ahead, Eugene.
Baba has explained that the avatar circle consists of 10 circles with 12 members in each circle and 2 special appendages. Mehera was one of these appendages, Baba declared. And Mani the other. According to Bao, each member of the avatar circle represents an opposite attribute of God. For example, in the early years, Baba referred to Gustaji as his dark side, meaning that Gustaji represented infinite darkness. Another represented infinite ignorance as the opposite attribute to infinite knowledge, and so on. Baba worked for creation through them and the other circle members. But Mehera represented all the opposite attributes of God, Bao stated, and hence held a unique place in the beloved circle. It happens only after 700 or 1400 years when the Ancient One comes on earth in human form. She represents Eve. Every time the Lord comes on earth, someone is there to represent that post, which is permanent. Adam was the first one, the first drop. Eve was creation, Maya. In the beginning, when creation took place, the first drop, the avatar, got God realization, then became the first perfect master. He worships Maya because Maya was and is the medium for realization of God. Therefore, when he comes down on earth, age after age, he brings someone to represent the whole of creation, which has all the opposite attributes of God. Mehera was that one. Mani also spoke about this aspect of Mehera's role in representing creation. We have all been representatives, like mini models, or said in a better way, like tools that Baba needs for molding. We each represent something symbolically for the work he does through us, even though we are unconscious of it. To me, what could be the Creator's beloved, what could be the Creator's beloved, but his creation? Mehera, to me, I feel positive, represents the world, his creation. This is his beloved in that way too. Each time when God appears as man, when he assumes the mantle of imperfection of man to be among us, the stage has to be set. The roles, the story is his, but this one is given a certain role. This role that is very special as his beloved has been given to Mehera. Mehera has earned that role as Baba's beloved. One should not mix up divine love with physical love. When Baba says that she is his beloved, it does not mean what an ordinary person would say, that so-and-so is my beloved. The divine love is something that we not only don't have in our dictionary of life, but it is something that one doesn't experience. There again, It is something that Baba has come to give us by his very being, by way of example of what real love, divine love means, which does not depend upon the physical or the touch. Another thing, Baba said Mehera had the purity of heart of a child. That childlike quality Baba implanted, planted, preserved, and developed. We would always say that Mehera is like a child, that she has the innocent heart of a child, which explains the way in which Baba would please her, because that is how Baba has kept her. So when I think of Mehera, I think of purity, not only in the sense of being like a nun, because that applies to us all who were with him, but of another kind. It is a purity that is a simplicity of its own kind. And these roles are the ones who are around Baba, whom he had kept as the innermost circle around him in his proximity and life with him. We are like an architect's models of a construction, a house, a building. The model is not limited to the model itself. It is what will be applied to the dimensions it is meant for. So, in whatever way Baba works with his circle, the chosen few, it is meant to be universal in times to come. As we all represent something, I have a very strong assurance in my heart, though Baba never said it directly, that Mehera represents his creation, the world. If Mehera represents the world, naturally, she is Baba's beloved. What would be the beloved to a creator? That which he has created. So Baba would say, if Mehera is pleased, I am pleased. Sometimes Mehera said, Baba, someone has sent this cheese for you. Baba told her to have it, saying, it is as good as my having. In other words, if you are pleased, it is as good as me being pleased. He was reflecting that role, saying that she should be taken care of, because by that, it is taking care of the world. Mani spoke again on the same theme on another occasion. Baba said Mehera was his beloved, that he loved her most, that her love for him was matchless and childlike in its purity and simplicity, and that she was the one chosen to be his beloved in this Advent. He would treasure her expressions of love for him and see that she was pleased always. He would tell her, if you are happy, I am happy. The worldly minded, who do not know the meaning of divine love and cannot understand a loving that is not expressed physically, misconstrue the role of a beloved in the avataric advent and wonder if the avatar too has need for a partner like any other man. Down through the ages, humanity has witnessed each time the avatar comes, he has a beloved. As Ram, he had his Sita. As Krishna, he had his beloved Radha. As Jesus, he had his dear Mary Magdalene. But down through the ages, people have wondered, and it's no wonder that they continue to wonder in this Advent, why does the Lord have the need to have a beloved when he himself is the beloved Lord of all? Something most insignificant throws light on this significant question. As related earlier, Baba always went to such an extent to please Mehera and to keep her happy that one day Mani, in exasperation, said to him, Baba, if Mehera were to tell you that the earth is square, I guess you would say, yes, it is, wouldn't you? Baba looked at Mani and nodded very seriously. Yes, I would. As Mani recalled, it was not until many years later that it dawned on her that Baba loved Mehera in the way that he wanted his lovers to love him. The avatar sets the guidelines for humanity in his life and becomes the gauge by which humanity can measure itself. In loving his beloved, the avatar perfectly plays the role of the beloved, of the lover, and sets an example for all his lovers of how to love him, the divine beloved. Then, and the side note says, Heather Nadell, Why the Beloved Has a Beloved, I guess that's an article in Friends of the Avatar Meher Baba Trust newsletter, January 1982. Don Stevens echoed the same conclusion.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. And
My pleasure.
Rosalie, would you like to pick up?
Baba has said on many occasions that one of his duties in coming into creation was to provide the living example. Certainly, he does this in showing us how one should offer love to another, as he confounds our greatest expectations in the totality of his understanding and acceptance of each one of us. But while Baba demonstrates direct to us this total acceptance, he is reduced to showing the pure example of the challenge to each of us of how to return this incomparable act of grace to the one great instance of Mehera's manner of loving him. Such an example is certainly intended to give us pause for reflection and comparison of our own response to his love, as demonstrated in the example he has brought before us and identified to us in the clearest of words. He has not done this for any manner of satisfaction to Mehera herself. She had absolutely no need for such flattery. Her very manner demonstrated conclusively that she already had to overflowing the greatest gift of which she could dream. Mehera, more than any other human being, can and should represent to us the ideal of what the real return of love can and must be totally undemanding love. As we see the example of Mehera, we must be reminded, and undoubtedly Baba intended it to be thus, that it is a sheer offering, the unclouded and total offering of our own complete giving to him of the totality of our river of warmth and certainty of complete meaning found in his loving, in his being. Mehera is the symbol of the giving of nothing other than the simple self. I feel deeply as I have observed the state of our present efforts to show our gratitude and to wish to return some modicum of our own estimation of great value received, that now is the time when we must all come to terms with the example of Mehera and not regard it as something unique in the life of the avatar, but for what he certainly provided it to us. It is the symbol and the concrete example of what each of us must know as the ideal of love to which we must compare ourselves and to which we must move steadily and joyously. With Mehera's passing and reunion, the divine romance between herself and Meher Baba came to an end. But the sweet fragrance of their wondrous love remains redolent on earth as the story of their days together is recalled and retold. Mehera's example will always be the paradigm of love. But how can we incorporate her experience into our daily lives? How can we, quotes, move steadily and joyously, end quotes, towards that ideal? Simply by doing this, by living as Mehera did those last many years, without Baba's physical presence. When Mehera remembered the beloved throughout the day, she turned to look and felt Baba's presence near her. It is possible for us also, but it requires constant, sincere remembrance. When Mehera said, quotes, "Take Baba with you," end quote, this is what she meant. Meher Baba meant the same when he exhorted us, "Make me your constant companion." May we be worthy of loving the divine beloved as faithfully, as honestly, as deeply as Mehera did. May we be as courageous as Mehera was to let our eyes be fitted with the blinders of devotion, so that all we see is the beloved's face, so that all we care about is obeying him, so that one day we too might realize that nothing else matters in this world but pleasing him.
I have to take a break for a minute because there's a window open. I have to shut it. So we have a lovely picture of Mehera here. Beautiful. It's on her birthday. And we have the accident report. Says Miss Mehera Irani. This is in 1952. Patient is referred by Dr. William Donkin, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She is a member of a traveling group of people from India. She was in an automobile accident in Oklahoma City on May 24th, 1952. I'm gonna have to make this bigger. I have no details about the accident, but apparently patient was not unconscious. She did receive a laceration in the mid-frontal region, about 2 centimeters above the eyebrow, and x-rays showed a small depressed fracture in this region, and also showed marked linear fractures bilaterally. She was apparently seen by Dr. Harry Wilkins, a neurosurgeon in Oklahoma City. She had no other evidence of increased intracranial pressure, but she did feel have a fragment of scalp which had been sutured back. And apparently Dr. Wilkins did not feel that anything more should be done to this wound. Since that time, she has gone along fairly well, complaining of anesthesia or hypothosia above the laceration and a general feeling of being unwell. The wound has been treated in a queer way with all sorts of powders, and she has received no penicillin.
Yeah.
General neurological examination was completely normal, except for some withdrawal and perhaps some dulling of consciousness. This is difficult to ascertain. In the mid-frontal region, there was a stellate, I guess that's stellate area of necrotic scalp covered by some white substance. Linear fracture lines could be felt passing from this area, and a linear scar above it was fairly well healed. It apparently represents a fragment of scalp tissue that has not healed and may be sequestrating. I don't know what that means. X-ray examination of the skull was reported at that time. AP lateral sterids,
It looks like stereos. Yeah.
stereos of skull show a diffuse and what appears to be a contaminated fracture through the frontal and parafrontal regions, with fractures lines extending on both sides, and on the left downward toward the middle ear. The crack on the right frontal bone seems to extend downward into the lateral portion of the right orbit, and the crack on the left extends down toward the medial wall of the left orbit. There is also a small fracture down through the middle of the region. Oh boy. Cribriform plate. The orbital walls appear smooth, extending up from the main fracture line. Across the frontal bone is a smaller fracture extending upward into the left parietal frontal region. As far as can be determined, there's no evidence of any depression. The patient was admitted to hospitalization and have this matter settled, and best to take penicillin 300,000 units every day for the next 4 or 5 days to prevent any intracranial infection. She refused both of those measures, and she is going to New York City, where I called Dr. J. Lawrence Poole about her, and subsequently she is going to England to spend some weeks there. And that's signed by Barn Woodhull.
Phew.
Wow. And this is the motor vehicle license of somebody. Who is it? Or maybe it's an accident report.
Elizabeth,
Mhm,
there she is.
mhm. Insurance form. Oh, wow. Do you want to try to read this, Deb?
Okay, I'll try. I don't have to read all the boilerplate, do I?
No.
All right. Oklahoma motor vehicle accident record, I think is underneath there. And
I
the
just
type
want
of
to read the handwriting.
the handwriting. Okay, no, I'm not going to try to read the handwriting, but well, actually, I thought it was like it's typed over again, but maybe not. I was going east,
West, I think.
west, when I saw a truck in front of me. So I slowed down. And while doing this, my brake
Froze,
something broke, froze on one side, which gave the car the tendency to turn left. In doing so, I made the U-turn across the highway and off the road. When the Nash,
then
Elizabeth's car, came at a pretty good speed and hit me in the rear. Yeah.
Okay, you want to read the rest?
The typed part.
Yes.
Okay, I got to take my glasses off so I can see it better.
I know, it's a little difficult.
Our party was on a motor tour from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to California, and on Saturday, May 24th at approximately 10:30 a.m., I was driving my Nash Statesman along the open road toward Oklahoma City, having passed Prague. A few miles back, suddenly I saw a car coming at me or at a very high speed towards Prague or towards me. Maybe I didn't read that right. Suddenly I saw a car coming at me or at a very high speed toward Prague or towards me. It swerved from its right side of the road in front of my car, and for no reason that I could see. I put on my brakes with all force and gave that other car as much room as possible and kept my car as far to the right hand side of the road as I could without going to the ditch. My car was hit very badly on the left front by the other car. I can only think that the other car was out of control. I was told later that the car was...
We can't read that.
I'm by.
Is this Elizabeth speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was driven by a GI with an artificial leg.
Right. Oh,
Good reading, amazing.
wait, I just did something wrong. 581. And then we had the accident report. And then we had the picture of Mara. And then we had the accident report. And maybe that's it. Maybe we're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, so we have a little bit more. Let's see. That was Elizabeth's account. And then this is the table of books read to Baba.
Mhm.
That's pretty interesting, but it might be hard to read.
Well, we could try. You want to try, Deb, to read this page of books read to Baba?
Sure. Want me to just read one page or one
Yeah.
column? How much?
One page.
One page, okay.
Could I share something
Mhm.
before you start the list? Because I've had this little note that I wrote to Mara, come back. They would send everything back. And it's from March 3rd of 1988. I guess just before I left India that year. I said, dearest Mara, oh, happy days. I love your company because Baba is always with you, because you always are thinking of him. Thank you for sharing me how to love God in his sweet, sweet, ever sweet, always sweet love, Rosalie. But it's a beautiful little card of St. Francis of Assisi. But I mean, it's just precious to hear about how she shows how to love God, because I was just totally enwrapped around her to just watch her and listen, and she just was. I won't even say I was spellbound, but I was just very present there. Yeah, whenever I had the chance.
Oh, that was beautiful sharing.
I thought after that medical report, it needed it just rocked the whole accident that it actually happened. It was just such a painful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Deb, you were going to read the list of books Baba had read to him.
On page
Tina,
589.
Yes, Eugene.
oh, yeah, back up to 589. You've gone too far. You're at like 590 something.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be good to read this little introduction, which is on the side. I'll read that first.
Wait a minute. Let me
It's
get.
on the side of page 589.
Oh, I see that I had gone way too far. Books read to Baba by the women. I don't see any sidebar.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
there
to
is.
scroll.
Oh, yeah, there's a
You have
big
to-
sidebar.
You have to move the the text over with the bar on the bottom of the page.
Okay.
Go a bit further.
Oh,
I mean, go downwards a little bit further.
Oh,
There you go.
I don't see it. Oh, I see.
Now you got it. Get up to the top.
Yeah.
You're learning to fly while you're landing the plane.
Okay. This list was compiled primarily from books kept in Money's trunks at Mehera-Meher, but it also includes others located by the author. Many titles are not included because they were either checked out of libraries at Dehradun, Satara, Mahabaleshwar, or Pune while traveling with Babu, or the books were loaned to them by others. Most of the books on this list were particular favorites of Baba's, which were kept and read to him more than once. Other titles, which are not included, were read once and then given away. The books were read at Mehera-Meher unless otherwise noted. All right.
Okay, so we'll go back to the top.
Mhm.
And I'll go over to the other side. Hold on. Okay,
All right. Born Free and Living Free and Forever Free by Joy Adamson. Baba looked at these, but they were not read to him. The Chocolate Cobweb and the Unsuspected by Charlotte Armstrong. There Goes Death by Gordon Ash, and that was read in Satara.
this Sholem Ash, the Nazarene.
Oh, I can interject here, please, and just let Deb know that the paper copy doesn't have as much information as this digital copy that Tina is showing us.
Yeah,
on
I
the
just noticed
screen.
that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll read from the screen. That the Nazarene looks really interesting, so I'm going to make a quick note of it because Shalem or Shalem Ash. Okay. The Nazarene by Shalem Ash. Several of the Mandali read it. There Goes Death by Gordon Ash, read in Satara. Pride and Prejudice, read by Jane Austen. The Little Gray Men. I have a kind of hard time reading it on the screen because it moves around a lot.
Great
So.
book. That Little Gray Man, I loved it. Just loved it.
You can read it from your
Okay.
book if you want.
Yeah. It's kind of hard on my eyes to read it on the screen because of the screen's moving. So maybe someone else can do it because it's making my eyes crazy.
The Little Gray Man, second time, 21st January to February 67, kept aside to be read for a third time also. So that was by B.B. Dennis James Watkins Pitchford. And then Anthony Berkeley's book, Trial and Error, in November 64. Sexton Blake stories from the Union Jack magazines, 1909 to 1911, and they're written by various writers. Suzanne Blanc, The Green Stone, Mrs. Frances Blundell, that's Mary E. Sweetman Blundell, The Manor Farm. Ben Bolt. The book is Linked by Peril. Sheila Burnford, The Incredible Journey. Is that the one about the pets? Who,
No, I've never read it.
yeah, they
I loved
travel
it.
like, yeah, they travel a long ways on their own through wilderness. Gerald
Based on a-
Butler.
What's it based on?
Gerald Butler, book is Kiss the Blood Off My Hands. John Butler, the book was one of his books. Taylor Caldwell is the writer. Dear and Glorious Physician. Mani and other Mondali read it.
So we're going back to the top now.
Right. Hall Caine, The Woman Thou Gavest Me is the book. Baba did not like Caine much. John Dixon Carr, also known as Carter Dixon, several books. And So to Murder, The Curse of the Bronze Lamp. He Who Whispers, The Mad Hatter Mystery, Murder in the Atlantic, My Late Wives, The New Exploits of Sherlock Holmes with Adrian Conan Doyle. Read Adventure of the Seven Clocks, Adventure of the Gold Hunter, The Nine Wrong Answers, The Skeleton in the Clock. Also read several in the Henry Merivale series. The writer is Leslie Charteris. The books are The Avenging Saint, The Brighter Buccaneer, Call for the Saint, The Saint in Europe, in brackets, Amsterdam, The Angel's Eye, The Saint Intervenes, Saint Overboard, The Saint vs. Scotland Yard. There used to be a TV show called The Saint. I wonder if based on this maybe. The Saint Wanted for Murder. Several others in the Saint series read in Satara. Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders, The Big Four, Cards on the Table, A Caribbean Mystery, Case of the Distressed Lady. Read all except Greenshaw's Folly. The Clocks, The Crooked House, Dead Man's Folly, Death Comes at the End, Death in the Air, Destination Unknown. And that was just one page of many.
Okay, well, we're going to go on. Rosalie,
Okay.
you want to pick up?
Five Little Pigs. Funerals are fatal. Henry Poirot, Master Detective. The Labor of Hercules. Make Mine Murder. The Moving Finger. Murder at Hazelmore. Murder at the Vicarage. Murder in the Mews. A murder is announced. The Mystery of the Blue Train. Poirot investigates. Poirot loses a client. Sparkling cyanide. Surprise, surprise. Third girl. And once earlier kept aside to be read for a third time also. 13 for dinner, 13 for lunch, toward 0, the witness for the prosecution. Green Willow by Chute, B.J. Chute. Bunny Brothers, read twice to Baba by Jacqueline Clayton. I'd like to get a hold of that book. I've heard of it. Elizabeth Coatsworth, The Cat Who Went to Heaven.
No, that I'm taking inflation. It's very serious.
Sorry. Pop up. Go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I could pick up if you want. The
What
cat-
was someone adding? What was that?
Oh, that was just a pop-up I got on my phone.
No, someone said something.
Oh, I don't know.
No, is that Ralph?
Is Ralph here?
Yeah.
Oh,
I stopped because I thought someone wanted to say something.
no.
Anyway, Dangerous Quest by John Creasy. That's the end of my words. I can't see anything. The Darkening Willows by Priscilla Dalton. Carter Dixon, see, anyway. The Robe, several of them Anjali read it, by Lloyd Douglas. Daphne du Maurier, and I can't see, it's Frenchman's Creek, The King's General. The Chiffon Scarf by Mignon Eberhardt. The House on the Roof, While the Patient Slept. Song Celestial, Bhagavad Gita, Sir Arnold Edward. Favorite Salutes after 65.
We're going back to the top. Oh,
Ah,
I don't know. Maybe there was something at the bottom. Stories, these, John Ernst, favorite sleuths.
yeah.
Stories read out. Queen MacDonald, Sayers, Stout, Christie, Charteris, and Coles. Okay, Rosalie, go ahead.
Ezra's Joke Dictionary, Jokes Read to Baba by Norina Elizabeth and Delia, by Evan Nesser. Rowena Ferre, Seal Morning, read once. Hands Off Bulldog Drummond, Gerard Fairley. The Impossible Guest, and Rona Runs Away by Jefferson Farjian. Death and the Pleasant Voices by Mary Fitt. Claudia by Rose Franken. Paul Gallico. Mrs. Eris Goes to Paris in Thomasina. The Mystery of Roger Bullock, The Rogues Harris. And that's by Tom Gallen. Emerald Embassy, Golden Guilt, Prince of Paradise, Red Rope by Francis Gerard. Several Carew Mystery Series by Bruce Graham, David Graham, Monsieur Blackshirt, Robert Graves, King Jesus, several of them on Deliretta, Rider Haggard, Benita, An African Romance, She, The Witch's Head, Death Dealt the Cards by Edgar Hale, The Best Detective Stories of Cyril Hare by Cyril Hare.
Oh, we gotta go. Well, in order to get that footnote, let's see. Okay, so Eugene, would you pick up?
Be happy to, but isn't it your turn, Tina? Don't you want to read?
Isn't it Ralph's turn?
He may be napping.
Oh, okay. Well, I can
Here
read.
we are. Yeah, if I can find the text.
This is on.
Hey, Bob, everybody, how are we doing? I've been hearing these books. Yeah, it's cool. I can't find the text.
Come on, old man. It's on the screen.
Well, I'm doing something like akin to turning pages on the screen, and
Yeah. Oh, I see. Well, brush it to the left or to the right.
yes.
Can you see it? Because I can read it if you can't see it.
Oh, here. Books read to Baba.
Excellent.
What was the last one read? Jacqueline Hire, Georgette.
For Georgette Hire.
Baba read Call of the Wild. Cool. Reluctant Widow, Satara 5456. Why Shoot a Butler? Cool. Title, huh? Heyerdahl, Thor Heyerdahl, Kontiki, sometime after 48. Rowland Hilder, Horseplay, a necessary book on the lighter side of writing, January 1967. RIDING. Victoria Holt. Bride of Pandoric. Marizod, July 65. Kirkland. Now, these are all Victoria Holt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bride of Pandoric is Victoria Holt. Kirkland Revels. Revels, November 66. Manfreya in the Morning. Guru Prasad, June 66. Mistress of MELLYN. Christmas, 1965. Those were all that lady. Now Sydney Horler. The High Game, Satara 5456. The Man Who Loved Spiders, Satara 5456. William Irish, The Night Has 1,000 Eyes, Satara 5456. W.W. Jacobs, Odd Craft, September 62. Tove, Tove, Janssen, Comet in Moomin Land, around March 68. Finn family, Moomintrawl, February 68. Also read other titles in the Moomintrawl series. Jerome K. Jerome, Paul Kelver, Satara 5456. Irina Karlova, The Empty House, Satara 5456. Louis Karnitzer, Pearls and Men, Satara 5456. Alan M. Lang, Laing, wrote Prayers and Graces, a little book of extraordinary piety, illustrated by Marvin Peake. Noel Lagley, shown to Baba, The Land of Green Ginger, March 68. Patrick Layton, Murder Will Out. Satara 5456. Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. What a story, God. That was a great story. August 62. William Locke, Simon the Jester, Satara 5456.
I think we have to stop here because,
Amazing, Baba. God, got
yeah,
so many books, fine books.